G'day everyone, it's Dean at OnlineToolReviews.com. Today we're looking at a Makita cordless circular saw. These tools have certainly been popular or of interest to tradespeople, woodworkers, homeowners, anyone who likes to construct things, I guess. This model is the BSS611. It's still available. I've had this probably for about 3 or 4 years. There's a BSS611Z Z model. It's pretty much the same as this one. I think this is the Z model anyway. You can see down on the plate there we've got a Z1. It's a 6.5 inch cordless circular saw, battery operated. I'll take the battery off just for safety while I'm filming. It has maximum cutting depth of 2 1/4 inches from the base plate down to the bottom. It's 18 volts using the Makita LXT 18 volt lithium ion batteries. What I like about this saw is it's very comfortable in the hands. It's ergonomic. This particular grip here just fits like a glove, and the front handle there, I mean, it's a little small for my hands, but I'd probably prefer it a bit larger and a bit thicker there, but you know, that's still, it's more than comfortable enough, certainly more comfortable than a lot of corded circular saws anyway, but for a saw this size, yeah, it's more than adequate. Another great feature is I think this is an aluminum base, but it's very thick gauge, and it's really sort of rigid and solid. We'll just bring that up here so we can adjust this here and adjust the gauge. Adjust the plate, and you can see there it's sort of not quite a honeycomb, but it's certainly fortified there and rigid. And that's very important with a circular saw if you want accuracy, because a plate that can sort of twist and bend in this direction, you'll notice this one's not moving at all, but saws with a very thin base plate are not very accurate because the saw tends to rock on them, or the base flexes and affects the cut. Another important thing with a circular saw is that the front mounting, so this mounting here, which joins the sort of the pivot point for the height adjustment to the base plate. It's really important. You can't sort of rock that side to side. I'm trying to push the saw this way in reference to the base plate to try and twist it. It's very hard to do on this saw, which is good. That's what you want. You don't want it sort of rocking on there easily, because that'll affect your accuracy of your cut. So instead of having a 90-degree cut, you know, as you cut, and that's sort of rocking and moving, you know, you're going to get pretty much a rigid cut sort of this way. You're going to get a rigid line. It's not going to be a smooth cut at all on that face. So as I said, depth pretty much from 0, so you can plunge cut with this saw all the way up to 2 1/4 inches, so a bit past these markings here, and these will give you a rough, or pretty close guide as to what depth you're cutting at. As you can see, this is still the original saw blade. I don't think I've had this one sharpened or replaced, but yeah, it's good quality. I think it's a 16 tooth blade. That's pretty much okay for framing and stuff. If you want sort of a finer cut, you have a blade with 24 teeths, probably. 24 tooth blade's probably good. What else? The brushes on the motor are externally accessible, which is great, so you can just pull these out and replace them if needed. They'll last quite a while, you know. If you're using this every day, obviously they'll need to be replaced at some stage. Direct drive saw. Got the blade lock here, so when you want to change the blades, just press that in until the blade sort of locks in place, and then you can remove the blade using these nuts and washer. Bevel cuts. no problem. We can go right from 0 to 50 degrees, and it's a, depending which way you're looking on the saw, it's a left tilt this way. And again, that you know, there's a little guide there which will tell you what angle you're cutting at, and that seems to come back to the 0 position pretty much most of the time, which is good. I'm pretty sure there was an included fence here, a rip fence, which secures here. Who knows where it is now on mine. I don't use them all that often anyway for the rip fencing, for the rip cuts, but it is certainly possible. And we've got also here various guides, so this line here will pretty much show where the blade is going to cut. I'll drop that back and see if we can see that. So yeah, that line here pretty much gives you an idea of where the blade's going to cut. So you'd run this along your reference line here, and for a 45 degree cut you've got this angle here as well. What else can we say about this one? It's I will show you some test cuts shortly. It uses the Makita 18 volt lithium ion LXT batteries. This one's the 3 amp hour. Now I think you can use the 1.5 amp hours. I'm not 100% sure, but some of the Makita batteries have a little, it's not on this one, but on some of the other batteries they have a little sort of stop somewhere in one of these channels which prevents some batteries going on to some of the tools. You can file away that little stop and then the batteries will work fine, but you can buy this tool as a sort of a bare tool only, they call it, so you just buy it with just the tool only if you've already got the batteries for it. Otherwise you can buy it as a kit with 1 or 2 of these batteries with the charger as well. So the tool alone I think goes for 120 or 130 US dollars. I got mine off Amazon. If you want to buy one from Amazon, there's a link in the description direct to this particular model, as well as links to the models with the batteries as well if you want to buy it as a kit. But these Makita batteries, I've had these well over 4 years now, possibly 5 even. I got them when they were sort of new, you know, as a new range. These are still going strong. I don't have any problem with them all. They still hold a good capacity of charge, 3 amp hour. So with a saw like this, you want a higher capacity battery, because the 1.5 amp hours, you know, you can chew through those fairly quick. These saws do draw a fair bit of current under load, so you can, you know, go through a 3 amp hour battery, you know, say 100 cuts. I did test it once for a magazine review, just saws in general, and off memory I think one battery did well over 100 cuts in sort of 2x4 pine framing. So they certainly can cut a fair bit of material before you need to recharge the battery. The only other thing is, just put the battery back on there. It's got a safety lever here, so you have to push this little release down before the saw will start, so it won't start as well if I just press on the trigger, which is a safety feature. But if you've got young kids around, you always want to remove the battery, because they have a clever way of knowing how to start things, or at least figuring them out, and you certainly don't want them playing around with a cordless circular saw. So always remove the battery when not in use, for your own safety as well, and obviously when you're changing the blades too. But I'll just start it up, and you'll see these are pretty quiet. They're certainly not all that loud, but I'll start it up now, and you can have a listen. And it should be, you should hear on the video pretty close to what it sounds like, you know, as it is here. I'll just make sure my hands are well out of the way of the blade. Keep them up on the handle is always a good spot. And start it doesn't have a blade break as such, but you can see being cordless it sort of stops pretty quick anyway. Okay, that battery, I'm not sure if it's 100% fully charged, but it's probably got about 75-80% capacity, but still no problem. It still seems to be running at full speed. Just take that battery off again. It doesn't have a riving knife. There's no riving knife at the back. And the riving knives are designed to prevent sort of kickback or binding of the material at the back of the blade, which can be dangerous, but I've never had a problem with this as long as you keep a nice straight line as you cut. So let's, without any further ado, we'll set up some pine framing and do a few cuts and see what you think. Okay, I've got some 75 by 35mm pine studs set up in the Triton Super Jaws, which are one of my favourite tools. That's pretty well secure there, and we'll give this Makita BSS611 cordless circular saw a run through this. As you'll see, it'll cut through no problems at all. So let's do it. Don't forget your safety goggles and earmuffs. The cordless saws will save you a lot of time, but they certainly won't save you from personal injury if you don't protect yourself and use them wisely. So let's give it a go. I've got the blade set at full depth, of course keeping my hands away while we've got that battery connected. But we'll just run a pass and see how it goes. So it cuts through softwoods with ease, really. You'll notice you've got to go relatively slow. You have to work with the power of the tool you've got. It's certainly not going to cut as fast as a mains powered corded saw, but as you can see, no problem at all. So we'll make another few cuts and then we'll try it on some hardwood and some boards as well. This is some Tasmanian Blackwood, which I've recovered from a bookshelf. We'll try and cut through that with the saw. I'll only just take a thin piece off the end, no point wasting good wood, but we'll see how it goes. As you can see, no problem at all. There's a bit of a split in the timber there, so we had half it sort of come off halfway during the cut. If we zoom in there and get that focused, probably see that does a pretty nice job of cutting that. Bearing in mind that that's only a 16 tooth blade doing a cross cut, so ideally you'd have more teeth cutting through the wood for a cross cut, but yeah, no problem at all through that wood, which is a fair bit denser than the pine. Next we'll try something even harder. Alright, what we've got here is a very, very dense timber. It's river red gum. It's been drying for many, many years, as you can see. It's got that silvery, grey, weathered look to it. Normally I'd never even attempt to cut this with a cordless circular saw. Usually timber this dense and thick requires a pretty heavy duty saw, corded saw to do. So what I'll do is I'll cut at 2-inch depth with the Makita, just see if we can make a slot through there, see how it goes through it. I've not done it before, so this will be an experiment for you and for me. And let's just give it a go and see how we go. Just remembering I'll be going very slow through this, and that'll be deliberate. There's no point of trying to rush this cut and bog down the saw, but as long as our blade's in fairly good condition, and it is, I think we should be able to get through this just going nice and steadily, letting the saw blade do the work, as opposed to overstressing the motor, and hopefully we'll get right through it. So let's give it a go. So I've got the saw lifted just to a bit above, well, a bit below 2 inches actually, but it's almost on the 2 inch line, so it'll be a 2 inch depth slot we'll cut in this wood. Nice and steady as we go. Well, it got through no problem at all. As the full depth of the blade was going through the middle of the wood, so we had most of the blade engaged in the wood, you could certainly see it here. The motor was sort of working a little bit, but it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. That handled it no problem at all. As I mentioned, that's a very dense timber, so you know, normally you're not going to be using a corded circular saw if you're working with this kind of timber on a regular basis. You'd have some pretty heavy duty tools to handle that, but it does the cut well. We could cut all the way through that if we flipped it over and just cut the other side with that saw, so that's no problem there. Yeah, and overall, you know, I'm very happy with the performance of this Makita saw. It's really a great tool. I've used it many times over the last few years. You just pick it up, grab it, no need to worry about cords, power cords, having access to electricity to run a corded saw. If you've already got invested in the Makita LXT range and you don't have a cordless circular saw, grab it, because I thought I'd probably not use it a lot, being cordless. You know, I thought maybe it lacked power, but it certainly doesn't. And you know, as soon as I bought one, I just found so many uses for it. So definitely grab one, guys. It's one of my favourite cordless tools, and yeah, well worth it. And like I said, you can buy it. You know, it's quite inexpensive for the quality of the tool, really. Buy it either as a tool only or with the kit with batteries and charger, and it may seem like an initial high investment, but it's well worth the money, and it should last you, you know, many years if you look after it and keep it well maintained. So thanks for watching. Please thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more videos, and comment if you'd like to see, or if you have questions about this tool that I haven't covered, or maybe I missed something. Certainly put a comment in, or let us know what tools you'd like to see reviewed in future videos. Thanks again, guys, and we'll catch you next time.